Hi, this is James Paterson. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the root cause analysis training that I do for internal audit teams. You'll most be aware of the current context that we're all in, with many governance, risk and compliance challenges. For example, projects that don't go according to plan, surprises in terms of company collapses, and the whole range of things that have happened with COVID. And as a result of this, as you'll know, internal audit teams have been trying to step up to the plate to be more proactive and more insightful and looking at areas that they haven't looked at before. There are many different root cause analysis courses that you could go on, and typical ones that you might find are ones that teach you about fact-finding, interview techniques, how to gather evidence and document it, and how to make sure you've got a rigorous timeline for causality. And what they might then do, obviously, is teach you about techniques to use. Sometimes there'll be a particular preference, and even talk to you about root cause analysis software, typically for more complex investigations. The course that I've got for internal auditors is slightly different, because I look at half of the list on the left and I basically say to myself, most internal auditors know how to do this. So we more quickly discuss audit basics, and then we concentrate on different root cause analysis techniques that are relevant to different internal audit situations. We actually talk about how root cause analysis can be used to improve internal audit productivity and insight. We talk about the way that impacts reporting. We talk about the use of root cause analysis for thematic reporting. And then I go into a much broader topic around how internal audit teams can encourage governance, risk and control improvements, and also how root cause analysis can make internal audit think more deeply about the way it does its own work. I cover the definitions, and I'm just going to show them here for your benefit for this brief overview. The key idea is that we need to be insightful as internal auditors. And the other key idea is we don't just want to tell people that they need to fix things. We want to try to help them understand the underlying reasons of things that need fixing so they can be fixed for the long term. The classic mindset that people come to when they're thinking about root cause analysis is, oh, we do this when something really bad happens. And what I hope becomes clear during the course of the day that we spend together on a webinar is it's not just for significant issues, but it's for recurring issues in the same area, or it's even for patterns. For example, we have a pattern of projects being late or over budget. Let's use root cause analysis to attack that pattern. And that might even mean that we start to learn lessons before, for example, we start working on projects. If we're going to talk about root cause analysis, one of the things that I say is, well, there must be other causes. And we talk about the immediate cause and the contributing cause, and then ultimately the root cause, which is a higher order causal factor that may address classes of deficiencies. And in the course, I explain what this means and give lots of examples. We also talk about different options. We talk about why the 5 whys is very good, but also not so good. And I give you other options for that. We talk about more sophisticated techniques, such as the logic tree, the issue tree in causal loop analysis. And then I talk about the middle ground of root cause analysis techniques, the fishbone technique and the bow tie framework. And depending on what I'm doing with the people in the room, we will spend more or less time on those different techniques. I don't have a fixed view about the technique you should use. I think it's important on a foundation training, you understand lots of different ways of doing this. One of the other things that I think is really people find helpful is the causal factors that I use, and I don't use the traditional causal factors that other people use for their root cause analysis. I say, and I'll explain this more if you spend some time doing some training with me, that it's not people that are a root cause of things. I even say it's not really human error that is a causal factor. It's more about not managing what are called human factors. So the root cause element is something about the inability to manage human factors. And this is something that's a well-established framework in industries such as aviation, in engineering, and also in the healthcare environment. Also, one of the other causal categories that I talk about, you'll understand this if you've been working in a large organization for any length of time. When things go well, we want to take the credit. When things go badly, we'll blame somebody else. So one of the causal factors that I have in my framework is the notion of unclear roles and accountabilities, authorities and approvals. So hopefully what you're seeing is some things that are slightly different than you might get from another course. Strangely, and a lot of people are not expecting this, what I try to explain is how root cause analysis can drive quicker assignments. I wrote a book on lean auditing, and what I try to explain there is kind of, rather than just digging around looking for stuff, you can use something called a working hypothesis technique to try to focus in on the critical areas in the assignment and then basically look for the treasure. And there are examples in the workshop and also in the lean auditing book that explain how that works. The other thing that sometimes surprises people is that root cause analysis really helps you pitch your actions at the right level. And the first thing that it does is it makes you really think about how many findings do I actually have. And so this will be something that we'll cover in the course. How can you take root cause analysis and come up with a smaller number of causal factors, and therefore, based on a cost-benefit analysis, a smaller number of key actions, which typically are much more chunky and interesting for senior managers to engage with, rather than, as we might say, down in the weeds. And so if you want more information about root cause analysis, please look on my website, www.riskai.co.uk. But you'll also find training courses on root cause analysis with the Institute of Internal Auditors for the UK and Ireland. Estonia have got a training course coming up soon, and so has the Institute of Internal Auditors in Luxembourg. And throughout the year, I will do training for different institutes of internal audit across Europe. Obviously, I do training on an in-house basis as well. So thanks very much for your time, and I hope this has been interesting, and it'd be great to see you on a course sometime. Thanks very much indeed.